Greetings, fellow sellsword, to the first episode of a new series of Battle Brothers. In this series, I'll be solely focused upon narration and improv storytelling. This was recorded while streaming to a live audience on Twitch. A link to my channel, as well as details about this series, can be found in the description of this video. Episode 1, Bloodied Origins. The last battle. It all went wrong. 2 days ago, the company was hired to track down Hoggart the Weasel and his band of raiders. But it was them who found you first. An ambush. Some joke about horses, cut short by an arrow to the throat. Arrows shooting in from everywhere and nowhere. Men holler and scream, a great volume before death. As the hail subsides, you draw your weapon with the rest of the men, only to collapse to your knees. An arrow has punctured your side. You shout in pain. A harried glance sees the men charge without you to make a valiant last stand, met in force as steel clashes with steel. You meet eyes with the captain, a last nod before his throat is cut. You're left in command now of what few men remain. Trembling in pain, you lean on your sword, and with all the will you can muster, slowly rise again. The brigand thugs quickly dispatch Captain Bernhard, slitting his throat, and one eye collapses as well. Ulrich readies his crossbow and stables his hands. He lets loose a bolt at the thug wielding the pitchfork, and his bolt flies wrong. Robert, seeing that the captain has recently fallen, proceeds towards the enemies. He wants to avoid the range of the pitchfork and readies himself to fight the other with the club. Hakon also readies himself, not wanting to rush out foolishly and recklessly. They bide their time. The bandit with the bludgeon rushes towards Ulrich the crossbowman, and Ulrich hollers for Hakon to help him. Hakon obliges, moving up towards the brigand thug. Swipes and unfortunately misses. Ulrich, taking the opportunity of the missed axe swing, lets loose a bolt which deeply cuts the thug. The thug's will is wavering, and his cheek is pierced. Robert, having the pitchfork wielder in his sights, proceeds towards the wielder, readies his spear, and slashes the thug's armor. No good deed goes unpunished. Hakon, rushing to the aid of Ulrich, becomes the target of both of the thugs. He is wounded, but still ready for more fight. Ulrich, seeing that he is not able to use his crossbow in such close quarters, changes his weapon to a simple dagger, and stabs wildly at the thug. It misses. Hakon readies his axe, knowing that this thug is surrounded. Perhaps he'll catch him off guard, and off comes his head with bloody gurgle. Robert, seeing that they are now completely outnumbering the enemy, is ready to put an end to the fight. Very little was found to be valuable on the battlefield, just a rugged surcoat. You're alive. You won. The adrenaline fades, and in its wake, you can't help but to sink back to the ground. Gritting your teeth, you snap the arrow shaft. Your chest heaves, the pain for breath, everything blurs. The company has been devastated, cut down to but a few men, and that bastard Hoggart did justice to his name, fleeing like the weasel he is. What now, Captain? A voice says from behind, "It's Hakon, who sits down beside you, bedding his bloodied axe on his legs." You turn to him to reply, but before you can answer, he continues. "Bernhard's dead. They slit his throat. He was a good man, and a damn good leader. But all it took was one mistake, and that makes you the one in charge now, don't it?" Ulrich joins the two of you, still breathing heavily. Then Robert. "Save the ceremony and anointments for another day. Let's give the men a good burial and return to Friedwald and collect our pay. The Weasel's men are slain after all. Besides, Captain, we ought to see to that wound before we lose you too. Wouldn't want you to leave Ulrich in charge, right? So be it." The men head southwest towards Friedwald that borders the Druid's Grove and Belford. They'll have to go through the thick forest, but hopefully the path will be free of bandits. They're in the tundra north, and the House of Gumbald has not really seen fit to grace them with any renown. What a sorry display it must be for the onlookers as you arrive in Friedwald. 4 bloodied and beaten mercenaries down on their luck. The man who hired the company days ago, Leibwin of Friedwald, no doubt expected you to return in a more glorious fashion. Still, he welcomes you to his house and offers bread and wine while the servants fetch a healer. Few words are exchanged except for the ceremonial or the occasional grunt and wheeze as an elderly man with shaky hands tend your wounds. A pin pierces your skin, the first of many stitches to come. You grate your teeth till you think you hear one break. Leibwin of Friedwald sits beside you and asks you if you took care of Hoggart. You shake your head. "We killed his men, but the weasel eluded our blades in the end." The healer waves around a glowing fire poke, suggesting he wants you to push it into your own wound. You nod, and he does so. For a moment, that's all there is. You're not a man, but a pinch of fire. Flesh from flame, a golem of pain. Leibwin of Friedwald hands you a goblet of wine. "You did well, Sellsword. The brigands have been removed, though it's a shame that Hargart still lives. We expect to be paid for this." Leibwin of Friedwald gasps. "Well, naturally. 400 crowns as agreed upon." He gestures towards the servants who rushes to your side with pay in hand. "I wonder, may I make use of your services one more time? I'd very much like to end the headache that is Hoggart once and for all. And I would pay you, again, of course, another 400 crowns, shall we?" Hakon scoffs and turns to drink more wine, but Robert stands to speak. "Yes, the company is in ruin, but we will rebuild it. Without the Battle Brothers, Hakon would drink the crowns away and end up banging on the streets. And Ulrich, by the gods, we all know he'd go crashing, chasing the womenfolk until one stove is rotted his head in. We need the Battle Brothers. It's all we have. What say you, Captain?" Hakon burps and raises his cup to you. Ulrich playfully thumbs his nose and nods. "We'll kill that Hoggart or not. It's up to you, Captain." "Yes, we have unfinished business with Hoggart." Leibwin of Friedwald claps his hand in satisfaction. "Excellent. My little birds will need some time to find where Hoggart is hiding his hide now. In the meantime, I suggest you see about stocking up on supplies so that you'll be good and ready to end this when time comes. I shall see you in a few days' time, at the least. At the latest." As you leave Leibwin of Friedwald's house and stand on the outskirts of Friedwald, Robert seeks a word with you. "We need more men, Captain. I know I gave you a big speech back there, but bravado won't do shite. We need warm bodies in the ranks. Figure we need 3 good men, buy them some decent weapons, and dress them in the best armor we can afford." The man pauses to glance around. "I'll bet this Bodunk town got a desperate peasant or two looking for a new life. We could travel to Allen, to the southwest. Them city folk aren't always hardy as these country bumpkins. but they're more likely to find men with fighting experience stopping to rest there. Then that's what we shall do. Fridwald is a village living off of lumber and everything the forest offers. There are some free men looking for work in Fridwald. There is a day tailor, a hunter, other hunters, a bowyer, and an apprentice. The Battle Brothers sees fit to hire the apprentice. He's a mastery of the prestigious, so what better way to be best than to learn underneath one? Hopefully, he'll learn quick. Checking the marketplace. We hope to outfit this apprentice with decent clothes. The rugged surcloak from the last battle, we see fit to don him. In quick analysis, Dietrich, the student, really hates greenskins and does not have a lot of proficiency in combat, but is ready and eager and indefatigable. A roughly broken wooden shield is purchased for him to equip, and then we'll set off looking for more recruits to the southwest. The Baleford roads are well protected from wooden watchtowers, and there's not a lot of bandits in these woods. As Aelin's skyline appears on the horizon, Auric seeks a word with you. Never been to Aelin before, but I've been around ones that look a lot like it. Cities like these are great for selling goods, as all these prissy, pompous pricks love to have their goods delivered. With so many merchants, you can find almost everything you need too. Keep an eye out for bargains, and don't get swindled by their cutthroat merchants. Hakon sees fit to add his own opinion of what you should do. If there's a good tavern, I say that's where we should go first. Nothing helps a man down on his luck any more than a good pint. Gods knows we earned it. Ulrich shakes his head. You say that every time we stop in town. You say that even when you're already drunk. I'll keep that in mind. Taking a look at the hirees, there are not too many people here looking for honest work. There is an anatomist, part scientist, part surgeon, but our men aren't really sure they want a butcher in their ranks. Alfred the Short, who is a detailer, might be a good hiree. He's not too expensive, and he is looking and eager for work. Alfred the Short is indeed tiny. Doesn't make for a great brawler, but it does make him very difficult to hit. He also has decent proficiency and desire to learn in both types of weapons, ranged and melee alike. Taking a look at the marketplace, we're hoping to find some additional equipment. A malicious spear, another shield, and possibly also a hatchet has been procured. We'll also need a better piece of armor for Alfred the Short. He might be hard to hit, but when he gets hit, it will ever deal damage. Our company swells to 5 men, but we're still 1 short of our goal. Yet another wooden shield is purchased, and also a quiver of arrows, and a few hats. Broken, beaten, and seen better days, but still will get the job done. We'll repair them with our tools. Heading back up to Friedewald, hoping to hire at least one of the other 2 day tailors that was in town. We might make for a decent band of brothers yet. Gisela will hire you. You're a tenth of the cost of the other 3 men, but no doubt will be useful. Not a lot of weapon proficiencies. You'll have to learn on the job. Last visit to the market, we will buy a discounted and somewhat damaged woodcutter's axe, and yet another hood. And our band is now ready to hunt Hoggart the Weasel. Leadwin of Friedewald is pacing back and forth when you find him. The healer who damn near killed you with the fire poke is standing nearby. He's picking chunks of dried blood out of his fingernails. Leadwin of Friedewald claps his hands. Finally, you're here. I have good news. We got a hold of one of Hoggart's former men. My good friend here had a nice little talk with the man, and now we know where Hoggart's licking his wounds. The healer clears his throat, splaying his fingers out like a maiden looking to paint them. He speaks as though he's identifying a disease he's about to excise. The brigand, known as Hoggart, is hiding in a small hut on the hill to the northwest of here. Based upon my most civil discussion with one of his men, Hoggart knows the Battle Brothers is on his heels, and will have gathered more men since the last you met him. Nodding, Leibwin waves you off. Good luck, Sellsword. Will return with his head. Delving deeper into the darkened Druid Grove, the Battle Brothers ready themselves. They're going to make one last stop to Donnerswold, hopefully swelling the ranks once more. There's still a little bit of a coin and food to be shared, and it's probably most prudent to make sure that we have numbers on our side. There is yet another apprentice ready to be hired out. The money up front paid, and this apprentice looking just as eager as the last. Some quick equipment swapping to be done, making sure that everybody is properly fit to fight. And perfect. We were hoping to find a short bow in the marketplace, and that we have. Additionally, some discount hoods are purchased for our axemen. Bandages got handed to Ulrich, so that if we do have open bleeding wounds, we'll be ready. And towards Hoggart's refuge we march. Hitting it during the daytime would be ideal. Ragnar's range is open, there's not a lot of tree cover, and the midday sun will help our bowmen hit their marks. Your scouts report that he has the following: a few thugs and a poacher. Scanning the battlefield, there are remnants of campfires and at least 4 of Hoggart's men. We'll wait for them to close the distance. Hoggart, instead of wielding the bow from last battle, has a sword and shield in hand, but his head is unbelievably exposed. One of the brigands takes great strides towards us, leaving himself open and vulnerable. Our bowmen take advantage of this fact and let loose arrows and bolts. all three, unfortunately, missing their target. Our new Axeman, looking to make a name for himself, his first kill, moves towards the brigand thug, swings and misses, his inexperience in combat showing itself. Mattis, one of the apprentices, also steps up and additionally misses. Dietrich, seeing the two men miss, sees an opportunity to create an unfair advantage. He'll fill the gap and ready his shield, as will Robert. He readies his spear. Hakon, knowing that he has a deep grudge with Hoggart the Weasel himself, would like to go around the side and maybe close on the brigand poacher. Perhaps that is the poacher that landed the arrow in the captain. Gisler is stunned. The man with the mace cracks him over the head. He staggers, hoping that his battle brothers will help him. Alfred rises to the occasion and readies his bow and lets loose an arrow upon the chest of that brigand. Ulrich, ready to go again, cranks back his crossbow and lets loose a fatal blow on the stunning brigand, readying for the next shot. Mattis, seeing opportunity that the pitchfork wielder is now exposed, rushes towards his side and stabs him deeply. Hakon, knowing that Hoggart the Weasel will want to hide behind his shield, slices it in two. It is now useless. Dietrich, seeing opportunity, rushes past all the men to close on the poacher so that the poacher may not make a getaway. Robert, knowing what happened to the captain in this last fight, pushes towards Hakon and stabs towards Hoggart the Weasel, unfortunately deflected by Hoggart's thick armor. Gisler, shaking off his stunned look, is ready to get revenge. He steps up to the brigand thug with the pitchfork and misses. That is 2 in a row. Mattis, fortunately, grazing the eye socket of the thug now ready to flee. He has had enough. Ulrich, knowing that he has a bit of a vendetta against Hoggart, rushes towards the aid of his 2 men and lets loose yet another bolt that embeds deeply into Hoggart's chest. He is catching his breath, but bruised, still steady then. Alfred, looking to end the brigand thug's polearming, unfortunately misses. Dietrich, closing the distance with the poacher, still does not know how to use his hatchet. Hakon has quite a grudge. And unfortunately for Hoggart the Weasel, this will be his last day. His leg muscles cut, his morale wavering, he is near death. And Robert inflicts the final blow. Instead of celebrating, Robert sees fit to help the new recruit, Dietrich, with the last poacher. And now, all of Hoggart's men are routing. Normally, we might allow these bandits to flee, but today is a special day. This is a grudge match, and we will continue to hack and slice until there are none left. Unfortunately for this last poacher, he is outnumbered, outmanned, and without life. Robert and Hakon taking good lesson from the battlefield, find themselves more experienced than when they had entered. And fortunately, we do have some artifacts, armor, tools, and food to regain from this fight. Hoggart lies dead in a pool of his own blood, skewered into a grotesque and panicked pose. He didn't weasel his way out of this one. You put a boot on his corpse and look at your men. For the company, for all the men who've fallen. Ulrich spits on the dead man's face. Let's take this bastard's head and get back to Friedewald. It's time to get paid. The men find footprints deep into the druid's grove, wondering if it is bandits up ahead. Ulrich joins your side. Got a moment, Captain? You nod for him to speak his mind. The battle has left some good gear worse for wear, and some men got a good nicking too. We can patch up both man and equipment while marching. It's a lot faster to set down and do it. Of course, if we make camp, we should be wary of ambushes. A campfire in these parts can be seen from every which way. Taking a look at the equipment that we have obtained, most of the equipment is poor quality and not worth repair, but there is one gambeson that might be donned. Hakon claims the gambeson as his own, hoping to protect him because he is without shield. And then his old gambeson will go to Mattis the apprentice. It's far better protection than his apprenticeship apron. Robert, wanting to learn more about the battlefield, takes the opportunity to expand his mind as a student, becoming healthier, with more endurance, and a better striking damage. Hakon, likewise, wants to learn more about battle, wants to become better at fighting and defending himself, but also staying on his 2 feet. Brigand hunters harry our entryway into Friedewald. Not ready to fight more brigands, we evade them and hope that the Kazenberg company catches up with those brigands. For it's Friedewald that we're going towards. The company returns to Friedewald as victors, their heads held high, much higher this time. The Battle Brothers are not the size that they once were, but they're still a force to be reckoned with, as Hoggart learned in his final moments. You carry his head in a sack that you empty in front of Leewald. He jumps back, but the healer quickly picks up the head and stares at it, and nods. Leibwin of Friedewald approaches the brigand's bloodied face and eyes it carefully. Yes, that's his ugly mug. Servants, pay this man his money. Coin in hand, you raise your voice to the men. As long as there's blood coursing through our veins, as long as we can hold a sword and shield, there shall stand our company. All through the realm of people will know the Battle Brothers. The men cheer. Robert puts his hand on your shoulder. You did well, Captain. No matter where you lead us, the men will follow you as brothers in battle. With the money that the Battle Brothers earned from the hunting Hoggart the Weasel, they are looking for new contracts. Quickly scanning the marketplace, they realize that this marketplace has overpriced tools and supplies, but relatively cheap food. Roots and berries are procured. The detritus from the battlefield, the armor and weapons are sold quickly, and food and money should keep for about 12 days and 4 days alike. This will give our Battle Brothers a chance to frequent other establishments. back to Alan, hopefully being able to take new contracts. At this time of day, the market is closed. But there are rumors about disappearing villagers, and perhaps someone will share crowns to solve this issue. Checking in on the tavern. The miller's daughter went missing last night. They found her, and she is well, but she's not willing to talk about it. With a little bit of the extra coin from recent battle, a round will be paid for the men. Alfred the Short, being of small stature, is now drunk, but Mattis enjoys his pint. Huzzah to the commander, the men cheer. As you take stock of your inventory, a rather well-to-do man spots you and heads your way. He announces himself as being in the employ of Roger the merchant, an influential person in Allen that wishes to talk business. You hand your duties over to Dietrich, the student, and let the man lead the way. Roger the merchant's got a satchel with a scroll attached, but the name written on the paper is not yours. He weighs it carefully. The lumps of coin curving about his fingers, their chink and chinks muted. He turns to you. You recognize the name? You shake your head. The man continues. A week ago, we sent for the famed Sir Theo of here to go hunt some foul beasts that have been terrorizing the town and surrounding farmsteads for weeks. Do you know why this satchel has remained in my ownership? You shrug and answer, because he hasn't returned? Roger the merchant nods and sets the satchel down. He sits on the edge of his table. Correct, because he has not returned. Now why do you think that is? I think it's because he's dead. But let's not be so negative. I think it's because the beasts out there require more. I think they require someone like you, Sellsword. Would you be willing to help us now that the nobleman has failed? What is Alan prepared to pay? He puts his hand on your shoulder, smiling reaffirmingly. I think I know an adequate compensation for your services. You'll be paid 380 crowns when the contract is done. Thinking this over, the captain decides we need the coin. We need to arm our men with better armor. So yes, we will accept this contract. The contract you negotiated is as follows. Do you agree to the terms? You have to hunt down whatever terrorizes the town, but you'll be paid. And yes, we will accept. Instead of striking out in the middle of the night with footprints leading to the northwest, the captain sees fit to make good sleep while encamping, hoping to hit the markets in the morn. And comes dawn, the marketplace doesn't have any reasonable prices for their tools, and that is unfortunate. We were hoping to resupply, but they're more than double the market price. The miller's daughter went missing last night. She's not willing to talk about it. There's a lot of missing miller's daughters in these woods. Heading north, even from the town's edge, we can see some ghouls. These must be what is terrorizing Alan. Six ghouls rush the men, an open conflict. The men ready themselves, waiting for the ghouls to close the distance. Robert readies his spear into spear wall, ready to fend off any incursions. Ulrich and Alfred wait patiently, wanting the ghouls to close the distance for a better shot. It's far too far to accurately hit from this distance. the ghouls rush absent-mindedly forward into the murky water. This murky water lowers melee skill, melee defense, and range defense. It might be easier to hit these ghouls while they're on bad terrain. Ulrich, taking advantage, lets out a bolt and it crushes the windpipe of the ghoul in front. He cocks back his crossbow for another shot. Alfred, looking to put the ghoul down, lets out an aimed shot, hoping to mark his target. Unfortunately, it flies past. He hasn't gotten the hang of using short bow just yet. Mattis and Robert ready their spears, still protecting the flanks from any flanking ghouls. They may seem mindless, but they will flank when offered opportunity. The ghouls close on the men, slicing, panicked, in a fury. Gisler readies his axe, hoping to split skull. And that is exactly what happened. He slices a ghoul fully in two. Dietrich, encouraged that the ghoul in front of him has a crushed windpipe, is ready to put end. And unfortunately, cannot hit his target. Ulrich lets loose a bolt and also misses. Hakan, hoping to relieve the ghoul in front of him of life and limb, swings wildly, but it does not connect. Alfred, looking to redeem himself for the previous missed shot, moves towards the ghoul for better accuracy and ends the crushed windpipe ghoul's life. Mattis, seeing that there is better footing underneath, heads one unit south to solid ground, hoping that it will help him repel future attacks. Robert slices the ghoul that is in front of him up to the point where the ghoul is ready to flee. These ghouls are disgusting. They consume the dead and become stronger. Volleys of arrows and bolts fly past the men and connect some with the ghouls. Mattis, seeing that his compatriots are in trouble and the enemies are not closing towards him towards solid ground, decide to scurry back into the murky water to help. Robert is bludgeoned by one of the flailing ghouls, and unfortunately Gisler is looking mightily wounded. Despite that, he cannot seem to close. Dietrich, seeing that his friend and compatriot is in trouble, is going to try to bash the ghoul backwards. And it connects. Maybe he has just saved his friend's life. Hakan, hoping to end these large ghouls, swings and also misses. He'll need more practice with this axe if he's going to make it effective. Luckily, dependable Ulrich lets loose a bolt, and it hits deep into the front ghoul's chest. Robert slices the ghoul in front of him, piercing his hand and wounding flesh. The ghoul in front doesn't have much left. Mattis sees opportunity to lock up the ghoul that has so viciously wounded Gisler that he takes the chance when he has it. Gisler is going to hang back, ready to strike, but not ready to tank. Hakon finally connects his axe with the neck of the largest of the ghouls. His head flies effortlessly deeper into the murky water. Ulrich moves towards the ghoul up north and ends his life as well. Only one remains. Moving in this deep and murky water is difficult. This terrain unforgiving. Mattis, the apprentice, adeptly dodges the ghoul's wild swings, and Hakon sees an opportunity to surround. Dietrich is hoping to redeem himself for all of what little he has done for the Battle Brothers. Unfortunately, his hits seldom connect. Mattis's strike in the ghoul's chest wavers the ghoul's resolve, and Alfred lets 2 bolts loose and 1 connect. The ghoul strikes the apprentice down. Unfortunately, Hakon and Giesler is now wavering. Mattis was clawed, his body cold in the deep murky water. Hakon, looking for revenge, slices the ghoul to an inch of its death. And Ulrich, as dependable as ever, ends his life. Unfortunately, Mattis does not recover from his wounds. This will be his final burial place. His equipment recouped from the battle, as well as some teeth of the beasts. The fight is over. You walk to a dead ghoul and take a knee. Were it not for a gate of ill-sharpened teeth, you could easily fit your head into the beast's oversized maw. Instead of admiring the dental failures at hand, you instead take out a knife and saw its head off, ripping through the very tough outer layer of skin before surprisingly easily cutting through the muscle and tendons. You raise the head up and order the Battle Brothers to follow suit. Roger the merchant will be expecting some proof after all. Thank you for watching Battle Brothers, which originally streamed live on Twitch January 28th. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Radamat.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my gaming community, Radamat.com also has a link to Discord, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. I hope to catch you in the next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow sellswords.